I'm Barnes-Lentz, and the most publicly measured woman in the world. I've spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on optimizing my health as a woman. And today I'm going to walk you through the 5 things that I would keep for sure, even if I lost everything. If I lost every supplement, every device, every protocol that I've done, I'm going to walk you through the top 5 things. And we're actually going to be working backwards. So we're going to start with 5 and we're going to work up to 1. So let's get into it. So this is the simplified version. If you are a woman that wants to take it to the next level, I have all of my routines on my YouTube channel. I also have my entire protocol at femalelongevityprotocol.com, and we can really get deep into the weeds there. But this is where I would definitely start as a woman. You absolutely have to master the foundation, the basics, and the best part about it, although the longevity industry has certainly been painted as a game for rich people only, if you master the basics, they're primarily low cost, or a lot of them are free. So if you like this video and you want more female longevity specific content, you can follow me, subscribe to this channel, and share this with someone that you love. Tip number 5 is nutrition. So we know that abs are made in the kitchen. Nutrition is literally creating our cells. So what we eat is what our bodies are made of. And I know I would definitely rather be made of wild-caught salmon and blueberries versus Doritos and Twinkies. But I'm not going to tell you the exact diet to consume, because you should do what you feel called to do. But I am going to give you 3 principles that are definitely non-negotiables. 1, get enough protein. We know that as women, we already have a lower starting point with muscle mass, but we're also going to lose muscle mass over time. So ensuring we get adequate protein intake. This is also going to reduce cravings. So when you're satiated by protein, you'll have less cravings for things like high levels of carbohydrates and sweets. So number 1 is eat protein. For me, I'm aiming for about 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight. I will go up to about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight on days that I'm lifting heavy. Second thing I'm going to tell you is to keep your blood sugar stable. So glucose spikes and crashes are not only going to lead to things like brain fog and lower energy, but also they can contribute significantly to aging over time. So those crashes and spikes are really not optimal for longevity. So how do you do this? First is the order in which you eat your food. So you want to eat proteins, fats, and vegetables, things of that nature, before any carbohydrates. So let's say I'm having salmon, a salad, lentils, and a sweet potato. I'm going to eat this salmon, salad, the lentils, and the sweet potato last. So the highest carbohydrates are at the end. That's going to ensure a more stable blood sugar response. Also, I will have apple cider vinegar before my meal. So that will also decrease the blood sugar response. And the third thing that I definitely do is walks after every meal. So a postprandial walk of even as little as 3 minutes, or some air squats, something of that nature, but movement to contract the muscles to uptake that glucose is certainly going to give you better glucose optimization. The third thing that is a principle for me is 0 ultra processed foods. These are many times loaded with fillers, toxic ingredients, things that are not known to your body as being God's wonderful creation of food. So eat single ingredient foods when possible, all the time. That looks like avocado, that looks like kale, that looks like wild caught salmon, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, apples, all sorts of foods within that category, but just really completely eliminating ultra processed foods, and also really reducing your intake of processed foods as well. So those are my 3 principles for nutrition. If you want to be vegan within that and you're looking at, your micronutrient intake, then so be it. If you do better on a Mediterranean diet, which is one of the most science-backed, if you want to see my full nutritional protocol, we will link the video here, because I do share everything that I eat in a day. But number 5 is nutrition. Here's my fridge. I'll point out a couple little things that we got here. We have some wild salmon that I just had for breakfast. We have some organic grass-fed, grass-finished eggs. We have some kefir in here. We have greens. This is my fiber. So I actually get about 30 grams of fiber just from this little fiber pudding here, Zen basil seeds with a coconut milk and a little bit of protein powder. We have some steamed broccoli. We have some kimchi. We have lentils. We have some blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, raspberries, lemons, aloe vera juice here. So this is what's in my fridge right now, and we need to go shopping. So let's go on to number 4 that I would keep in my female longevity protocol. Number 4 is hormone testing. So if you're not looking at your hormones as a woman, you're kind of flying blind, and hormones are critical to everything, to our cycle as premenopausal women, and our cycle is a vital sign. We should be ovulating. We should know what our hormone levels are. If you're a woman in perimenopause or menopause, understanding when it could be time to go on bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, which is certainly what I'm going to be doing. But we need to be looking at our numbers. Our hormones impact our sleep, our ability to maintain bone, our ability to add on more muscle. It impacts our mood, our stress levels, literally everything in the body. So what hormones am I actually looking at? So there's a few different things you can look at. You can look at some blood hormone levels, which I do in the foundational Zoomer, it's called, with the Vibrant Wellness, or I do at-home metabolite testing as well, which is not going to give you as accurate of an indication, but it can be really helpful of confirming ovulation if you are in premenopausal state and you want to confirm that you've ovulated. Basal body temperature, also a great way to do that. But things that I'm looking for is estrogen. So looking at days about 2 to 5 estrogen, and then I also like to look at day mid-cycle estrogen. If you're only going to do 1 day of estrogen testing, I would do mid-cycle. Why is estrogen important? Estrogen is just an incredibly important hormone. We have estrogen receptors all through the body, particularly in the brain. Obviously, as estrogen declines, our risk of many things, including cardiovascular disease and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, increase. So estrogen, knowing what your levels are, super, super important. The next hormone that I would look at, or female biomarker that I would look at, would be AMH, anti-Müllerian hormone. This is a measurement of ovarian reserve. It's not a perfect measurement. It's not going to be an indicator of fertility necessarily, because we know that even if you have a low AMH, meaning a low follicle count, you can certainly still get pregnant. But we also know now that the ovaries are a pacemaker for female longevity. If your ovaries are aging faster than they should be, then you're going to enter menopause earlier than you should. And when you enter menopause, as we discussed, risk of all-cause mortality increases. So I got my first AMH when I was about 27. It's been in the 5 range, give or take a little bit, ever since then. So I am maintaining a higher AMH, and it's a number that I think all women should know just to have an idea of where you stand. We now know that there are many things that we can actually do to slow ovarian aging. We know that there's things that speed ovarian aging, such as environmental toxins, such as PFAS exposure, such as lack of sleep or obesity. These things increase ovarian aging. So knowing your AMH is important. The next number is progesterone. So you want to look at progesterone in the second half of the cycle, but progesterone helps us get better sleep. It has a big impact on our mood. It can be anti-inflammatory. So knowing that we are having that progesterone rise and not just imbalanced, unopposed estrogen is also important. The next thing is actually testosterone. So many women don't know this, but testosterone is an important hormone for us, as it is men. Obviously, we have far lower levels, but it's still important for bone building, muscle mass, and so much more. So knowing your estrogen, mid-cycle, progesterone about 7 to 10 days after ovulation, whatever that looks like for you. AMH can be drawn anytime, which is great. And then you can look at a testosterone level, mid-cycle as well. So those are a few of the numbers that I would certainly want to know, and I would definitely keep in my protocol. In general, most women don't know that their hormones are declining until symptoms show up, until fat redistribution starts to accumulate around the midsection, and you don't know why. You're working out the same, you're, training the same, but, your body composition is changing, or your energy is changing, or your mood is unstable. So let's get ahead of that, know where we're at with our hormones so we can work on optimizing them. Let's go to item number 3 in my must-have female longevity stack. Muscle mass is the single biggest predictor after the age of 40 of how long you will live for women. So next on my absolute must-haves is strength training. So we know that muscle actually works as a metabolic organ. Not only do we start off with less muscle than men, but we also lose more of it as our hormones begin to change. So we need to be adding on muscle mass. So strength training is an absolute must. This can be done essentially free or low cost, but we need to be thinking about progressive overload. So this is adding more weight over time. We want to get stronger. These tiny little weights are not necessarily necessarily helping us for our longevity. So very important. Get your weight training in. Don't be scared to lift heavy. I think that this myth has been dismissed at this point, but you are not going to get bulky. You are not going to get too huge, because I have been trying for well over a decade to make that happen and it still hasn't occurred. So women are not built for that. We can add on muscle, but we need to be really proactive to ensure that we are getting enough muscle and weight training. We can also look at a DEXA to look at muscle mass. You can do the, if you're doing a full body MRI, Pronuvo offers a body composition analysis, but we should know where your muscle mass is. The other benefit that you're gonna get to heavy strength training is going to be bone density increase or maintenance. So we know that bone density for women peaks before age 30. Most women aren't even looking at bone density until about 65 when it's covered and recommended. But by that age, you're certainly going to probably have some level of at least osteopenia, which is before osteoporosis, which is actual real bone loss. So let's start training heavy now to load those bones. That's how we build them. We need things like vitamin D and minerals, but we also need to be loading the bones and applying a mechanical friction, essentially. So bone density, muscle mass increase, metabolic health, all really incredible reasons to be strength training. You might be wondering, why didn't I include zone 2? Because everyone's talking about zone 2 right now. I mean, zone 2 is great, but if we really want to parse out the most optimal regimen for a woman that's light on time, so if you have many hours a week to strength train, VO2 max, high intensity, and zone 2, great, do that. But if you only are able to allocate a small amount of time, let's say a couple hours in total, to your exercise regimen, strength training is one, and then that's closely followed by, or maybe even equal to, that high intensity training. So we now know that about 1 minute of high intensity training is equivalent to 4 minutes of medium intensity training and about 9 minutes of low intensity training. So opt for that high intensity and that strength training mixed together is absolutely ideal. So next, we're gonna go see number 2 on the list. Welcome to where all the magic happens. And by all the magic, I mean hormone optimization, lymphatic system clearance, and reduction in cravings for the next day. And yes, of course, the special union between a husband and a wife. But back to the longevity data. Sleep is my absolute number 2. So when you improve your sleep, you improve everything. You have more motivation to exercise the next day, more compliance to your nutritional protocol. Even one night of poor sleep can reduce your natural killer cells, which are fighting cancer and scavenging the body to rid it of things that are not supposed to be there. It decreases your immune system. It increases your hunger hormone, ghrelin, so you're literally hungrier. You want those more processed foods, carbohydrates. It decreases your leptin. So when we are satiated, our leptin increases to tell our brain that, hey, it's time to stop eating. When we don't sleep enough, that signal is dampened or even turned off. So we are not becoming full as we should be. These are just a few of the things that can happen with even one night of poor sleep. Actually, let me throw in a few more. So it can increase your blood pressure. It can increase your blood glucose. This all happens with even one night of poor sleep. So when you prioritize sleep, you're going to get so many benefits. First of all, human growth hormone is released during the deep stages of sleep. So this is an incredible for fixing and optimizing cellular health and honestly longevity at that cellular level. So when you get into bed early, before about 10, you're going to hit those deep stages of sleep early, get that human growth hormone optimization. Also, as I mentioned, the brain's lymphatic system, which is our cellular cleaning and waste removal. This is removing things like plaques from the brain that can accumulate without enough sleep. Very important for women, as 2/3 of all Alzheimer's diagnoses are in fact us women. So sleep is absolutely crucial. I will run through a few of the habits that has enabled me to have a consistent score throughout the entire year of about 93 sleep score on Oura Ring. You can't get 100, by the way, and this is literally for an entire year. That's my average as of last year. So I do early eating, so the earlier the better. But when your body is consuming food and digesting, this is a sympathetic activity. Your sympathetic system is aroused. That is the opposite of what we want to happen before bed. We want to switch into parasympathetic, so that rest and digest state. So no eating 3 to 4 hours prior to bed. It also can blunt melatonin release. So when you're eating, your body doesn't think it's time to sleep. So therefore you don't release the melatonin as you should. So minimum 3 hours, the more the better to stop eating prior to bed. I stop eating at about 4 p.m. by the way, and I'm now going to bed at 8:30 because there's recently been a time change here in Austin, so I'm going to bed with the sun still. Assuring that you're doing something relaxing. So do not just continually scroll on your phone. You can see it on any wearable that it is inducing stress. So put the phone away an hour prior to bed. Wear something like a blue light blocker. By the way, these are going to be the Kayla blue light blockers. I'm doing a collab. I couldn't find a chic blue light blocker, so stay tuned because these are coming your way. But blue light blockers prior to bed, red light phone trick, super important. Cool, dark room. We have something called light lock shades, so it actually slits into a bit of a system, so there's zero light whatsoever, but do what you can. Eye mask, whatever it may be, but super dark room. We keep our room at 65. If you can, air filtration in the room because it reduces the VOCs and SVOCs that can disrupt sleep, and go to bed at a consistent time. Every single day, try to be in bed at the same time. This is super important. Don't stay out super late on weekends because it throws your entire circadian rhythm off. Next thing is getting morning sun. So when you get that morning sun, which we do every single day, as soon as it comes out, I go on a walk with my husband. It tells your body and brain it's time to wake up, but it also anchors your day. So very important. Exercise, also amazing. You need to fatigue the body to really get those deep levels of sleep. And the next thing is not drinking coffee too late. So depending if you're a fast or slow caffeine metabolizer, it can be different for you, but I stop drinking caffeine by about 11 a.m. every single day. Honestly, typically I just have my first cups around 6 o'clock and then I'm done for the day. But if for some reason I have to be up, and moving about and need a little bit of extra energy, latest is 11 a.m. If you want to take it to the next level is, maybe an 8 sleep or something of that nature, technology that you can use to even further improve your sleep, but you can certainly optimize your sleep completely without any additional technology. But sleep optimization is number 2. It will change your life. If you are trying to improve your exercise or physique or body composition or any of these things, start with your sleep first because it's going to make a massive difference. And now we're on to number 1. What is it going to be, ladies? We are finally at number 1. What do you ladies think it's going to be? Well, number 1 is stress reduction. We know that over 80% of doctors' visits are related to stress, and high levels of cortisol and high stress is actually one of the things that can age us the fastest. Women report disproportionate levels of stress. This could be due to caregiving, the way our brains are wired, to be more interconnected, to have more yearning for social connections and being more concerned with social connections. So many reasons that it could be, but reducing your stress is absolutely number 1. This will again improve every single area. When you are stressed, you have biological responses. This can shunt nutrient absorption from your gut, so you don't absorb nutrients as well. It can actually lead to leaky gut, and I believe the gut is the foundation of health. Increased levels of stress can also disrupt sleep. It can increase blood pressure. It can increase inflammation. There are so many things. It can disrupt hormones over time. So many things that stress touches. So at the end of the day, here's my stress protocol. First of all, you need to identify what is giving you the highest levels of stress. This could be physical, so it could be something like, environmental toxins in your air that can contribute to a low level of physical stress on the body. It could be some sort of undiagnosed chronic condition that is causing you physical stress, but it could also be mental stress. So ridding yourself of toxic people in your life. If there's individuals that continually cause you stress, I've done this personally, and it's been an absolute game changer for my stress levels. It could be lack of social connection. We know that being lonely could be as detrimental as smoking almost 15 cigarettes per day. So that could be a reason. Another form of stress that you could be experiencing is sedentary behavior. Maybe you're not moving your body enough. Maybe you're not exercising enough. So step 1 is to identify what's causing you stress. And how I like to measure my stress is heart rate variability, HRV. This is the time in between heartbeats. You can also measure your stress levels on a wearable like Whoop or Aura. It will tell you when you are in a high level of stress, and the goal is to bring those levels down. I took my stress levels from pretty dang high in 2024 to pretty low in 2025. Lots of restorative time logged, much less stress, and it was because I was intentional. So for me, I already had good exercise, sleep, and movement habits. I also didn't have a lot of environmental toxins, no undiagnosed health conditions. So for me, I knew it was the mental stress. So what I did is I put 4 intentional parasympathetic breaks into my day. So starting out with prayer for me in the morning. Every single day when I read my Bible, I am logged as restored on Oura Ring or Whoop, whatever device I'm using that day. This doesn't have to be prayer for you. I do encourage you to potentially explore that, but it could also be meditation. It could be breath work. It could be a gratitude practice. There's so many things that you could do to start your day off in a more parasympathetic state. The next thing is a nature walk with my husband. So next time that I'm really activating the parasympathetic, I'm getting my steps, I'm getting the sun, morning sun, very important, as we mentioned, and I'm spending time with my husband just leisurely walking through a beautiful neighborhood filled with nature. So that's time 2. Time 3 is a midday breath work session. So actively taking deep, long, relaxing breaths. We breathe all day and breath is so powerful and free, but putting these into your schedule like a meeting, or at least your mental schedule, like you would anything else that is important to you, really helps to build those habits and ensure you're shifting into that parasympathetic. The last one is an evening wind down. So one of my goals is to get into the most relaxed state possible prior to bed. This will certainly improve your sleep scores, your HRV, and so much more. But doing a breathwork practice, prayer, warm bath, could be a sauna session, even a light sauna session, nothing too intense. And if you do sauna, you want to do it about 2 hours prior to bed so you don't keep your resting heart rate up. But anything that you can do to shift into that parasympathetic. Reading could be amazing, so many different things, but identify why you have high levels of stress and then do everything humanly possible to actually reduce that stress. So this has been my 5 up until 1 female longevity requirements for the protocol. If I lost everything that I have tomorrow, this is what would definitely stick in the protocol. And this is what will move the needle most for you as a woman. If you like this content, I would love a subscribe, share, or comment.